A man's worth isn't written in ink, but in the way he walks away when no one's clapping. If this isn't a joke, it really should be. The room was so still you could hear ambition sweating. Serafina Langford, CEO, stood at the head of that marble table, resume pinched between two manicured fingers as if touching it might lower her net worth. Kayla Monroe, she read aloud, her voice a scalpel ex-director of strategic finance. Now mopping floors. The little corporate chuckles ricocheted around. Soft. Careful. The kind that say, "We're on your side. Boss. Please don't turn that look on us." She kept reading. A cover letter. In Times New Roman. Is this a motivational quote? In Comic Sans? The laughter grew bolder. No one noticed the janitor outside the glass. Mop in hand. His reflection blurry, but his posture steady. Kayla Monroe had cleaned these floors before any of them knew where the elevators were. Before the coffee got expensive and the walls started to smell like perfume and deadlines. He knew every squeak, every scuff, every edge that never quite lined up. But today, for the first time in years, he'd submitted something personal as Résumé and watched as it was shredded by a woman who'd never missed a decimal. He turned away, boots tapping a quiet resignation on tile. Not angry, just gone. Down in the break room, Maya, his 6-year-old, swung her legs and drew superhero name tags. "Here, Dad," she said, pushing over a badge she'd made. Kayla Monroe. Floor hero. He smiled, letting the crayon-stained paper rest like something holy. "Thanks, Peanut. My superhero cape's in the laundry today." She looked up, dead serious. "Why'd you give that lady your resume if she was going to be mean?" Caleb paused, shrugged. "Sometimes you knock on a door, not because you think it'll open, but to prove you're not afraid of closed ones anymore." She giggled. "People laugh when they don't get brave." He added, "Yeah, that happened. Back upstairs." Sarah tossed the resume onto the pile. Moving on. Everyone forgot except Ethan Bloom, an analyst at the end of the table. The only one not laughing. He remembered Caleb from Ally Providence, the consulting firm that built half this city's fortunes. Back then, Caleb had been a storm in a suit sharp. Kind. Unshakably ethical. Then, gone. Vanished in a whirl of rumors. Tragedy. Resignation. Ethan stared at the discarded resume, feeling something sour in his stomach. Not about the janitor. About his boss. That night, after the world went quiet, Caleb taped Maya's drawing to the fridge and packed her lunch. "Did anyone say anything about your resume?" she asked. He smiled. "They said a lot, Maya, but none of it mattered. I wasn't talking to them. I was talking to the part of them that remembers what it's like to care. Did they hear it? Maybe not yet." Next morning, Sarah arrived early, heels clicking like clockwork. Her phone buzzed. "Brentwood's failing. They need more than numbers. They need heart. You promised both." She scoffed at the word. Heart made people weak. She crawled out of Brentwood on math, not poetry. In her office, she found the resume back on her desk. "Why is this here again?" Ethan was there. "Steady. I asked for it. You should remember him. Because he wiped your whiteboard once?" Ethan shook his head. "No. When I was no one. He was kind. Left an apple on my desk. Never said it was him. That resume. It's not a joke." For just a flicker, Sarah's armor slipped. Dawn painted Caleb's kitchen blue. He left Maya a note. Her favorite sandwich. Warm cocoa. A banana. "You, on my sunrise. Keep your eyes kind. Your words kinder. Love. Dad." He left. Unseen. Like always. Caleb didn't talk about the past. Not because it hurt, but because people like their stories tidy. And his wasn't. Rachel, his wife, had died after a system glitch denied her treatment, the kind of glitch you only see on spreadsheets. He quit the very firm he helped build. Traded the briefcase for a mop. Not because he had to, but because he couldn't build a system that couldn't save a life. Word is your resume made it to the Shark Tank. "Lou, the night guard," said as Caleb clocked in. "Brave or bored?" "Neither." Caleb grinned. "Just making sure my courage still works." Upstairs, Sarah couldn't shake Ethan's words. She opened Caleb's resume again. "Read it. Really read it. It was good. Too good. Language woven with ethics. Financials built around people. Not profit. Who writes like this and mops floors?" She searched his name white papers. Panels. Then, nothing after 2018. The name vanished like a ghost. That night, Maya handed Caleb a drawing. "He doesn't just clean floors. He clears the way." He tucked it away. A talisman. Meanwhile, Sarah drove out to Brentwood Haven for the first time in 23 years, the orphanage she'd run from at 15. Margaret Hale, the warden, met her at the gate. Arms crossed, they walked through the hall's peeling paint, flickering lights, laughter echoing like hope refusing to die. "This place is dying," Margaret said. "No, it's just been left behind." Sarah shot back. Margaret's gaze softened. And now the girl who ran wants to save it. I didn't run. I walked out on purpose. A few checkbooks won't fix what's broken. Maybe not. But a system that forgets the invisible can only be fixed by someone who remembers. And you remember? Enough to want it rebuilt. Back at the office, Sarah asked Ethan for everything on Caleb. You want to hire him? Test him. If he passes, he'll help rebuild Brentwood from the bones up. Big leap for someone you mocked. Sometimes the one holding the mop knows exactly where the floor's cracked. A day later, Caleb arrived for a meeting in his uniform no briefcase. Just steady eyes and quiet confidence. Sarah met him head on. Why am I here? I need help fixing a place that raised me without ever healing me. Brentwood Haven is dying, and I want to rebuild it not as a charity, but as a living ecosystem of resilience. You wrote the model for that. Years ago. That was a long time ago. But you still know how. You could have asked anyone. I did. They sent estimates. You sent truth. Caleb didn't flinch. And you mocked that truth 2 days ago. I did. I'm not proud of it. I don't want pity work. And I don't offer it. They dove into strategy funding models that measure trust, not just ROI. By the end, Sarah looked up. Will you do it? Depends. Are you hiring me? Or inviting me to help you rewrite what once rode over you? She smiled. The latter. Then I'll help. But I want to walk the place first. Feel the ghosts. You believe in ghosts? Only the ones we pretend don't shape us. At Brentwood, Maya and Caleb walked the halls. Sarah took her old room. The place remembered her the same carving in the bed frame. Be more than they expect. Dinner was macaroni under flickering light. Maya made friends with Lena, the quietest girl, who didn't make friends because they always left. That's okay. Maya said, you can borrow one. Caleb fixed a faucet, taught kids how to budget using Skittles. Sarah listened not for numbers, but for wounds. Maya's sketches started to fill the walls hope drawn in crayon. But Lena packed her bag to run. She'd heard the system stamp her as broken. Maya found a note. If I stay, I'll just get returned. Maybe if I leave first, it won't hurt as much. The search began. Flashlights. Rain. Panic. They found her in an abandoned house. Sacred to her because her mom once slept there. Caleb sat with her, told her about promises, about loss. Sarah held her, both crying for the children they'd been. That night, Lena stayed. Maya's bunny returned. Margaret canceled the transfer. For the first time, the silence at Brentwood was hopeful, not heavy. Caleb proposed a new model measure dignity, not just dollars. Track how many kids feel seen, how many adults come back, how much art the kids make and sell. But what if the donors dry up? Margaret asked. If you build dignity into every line item, you don't need to beg. Donors find you. Maya presented her drawing. Don't just save the building. Save the stories. The board approved. It's unanimous. Later, Sarah asked Caleb, you could take any title. Director of Impact. CFO of Hearts. He shook his head. I already have the best job earning the trust of kids taught not to trust. You know, for a man who hates titles, you sure collect quiet victories. Those are the only ones worth having. Maya found an old box. A letter from Caleb to his late wife. Rachel, I'll mop the world clean. Inch by inch. If that's what it takes for Maya to walk without slipping. Sarah read it, hands trembling. Caleb said, I used to believe guilt was proof you cared, but just build walls. Maybe it's time to open a door. Sarah replied. Days blurred into new routines. Caleb taught the first emotional finance. Class kids learned to value not money, but each other. What if the world never remembers? Lena asked. Then we build a world that does. Maya drew a new resume. Caleb Monroe listener. Fixer of broken feelings. Cleaner of sadness. My dad doesn't fix spreadsheets. He fixes places where hearts get left behind. Sarah knelt. Can we make this the official resume? Even if it has no numbers? Especially because it doesn't. Saturday. Folding chairs. Juice boxes. No hierarchy, just heart-level space. Caleb left an empty chair for the parts of us that once felt invisible. Maya folded a blanket into a heart. Whispered, you're still in the circle. Kids shared what they'd learned. To ask for help. To fix a broken day. To say, I am scared. For the first time, no one rushed to leave. The job Caleb never asked for became the calling he couldn't ignore. Sarah handed him Maya's drawing. Worn at the edges. You changed this place. She said. No, they changed me. She reached into her coat. Pulled out another drawing herself beside Caleb. A book titled Hope in her hand. Above, they fix hearts together. She kissed his cheek. Maybe love begins where fear lets go. Brentwood's open house. New faces. New hope. By the entrance, Maya's resume. Framed. Plaque beneath. For the ones who heal without a title. And the children who remind us what matters. Caleb didn't need his old resume ever again. His life was his application now. Every heart, he touched a job offer. Maybe that's the miracle we need. Even the overlooked can rewrite the story for everyone they dare to love. What hit home for you in this story? Drop your thoughts below. Right, wrong, justice, heartbreak, whatever's on your mind. And where in the world are you listening from tonight? If this story moved you, hit subscribe, and let's keep building a world that remembers. Thanks for spending your time with this one from our storytelling family to yours. You're never alone in the quiet chapters. See you in the next.